went through.
Without exemption.
I planned each charted course.
Each careful step.
Along the highway.
And more. Much more than this.
I did it my way.
Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my
Generations, the gunslingers were knights, sworn to protect us from the coming of the dark.
These visions, as you call them.
What do you see?
I see a tower, the man in black, and the gunslinger.
They're just dreams. They're not real, Jake.
There's another world out there. I know there is.
Who are you?
It's you. You're a gunslinger, right?
There are no gunslingers. Not anymore.
Why does the man in black want to destroy the tower?
The tower protects both our worlds. If it falls, hell will be unleashed.
He's like the devil, isn't he?
No, he's worse.
You can't stop what's coming. Death always wins.
Your world might be gone, but mine isn't. If you let that tower fall, billions of people die.
When I have guns and bullets in your world?
You're gonna like Earth a lot.
All right, let's go.
You clawing your way out of the darkness? Did you tell the kid whoever walks with you dies by my hand?
I will kill him for both of us. I do not aim at my hand. He who aims with his hand has forgotten the face of his father. I aim with my eye. I do not shoot with my hand. I shoot with my mind. Jake! I do not kill with my gun. I kill with my heart.
The novel series called The Dark Tower, which Stephen King hails as his magnum opus or his greatest work, has been made into a movie adaptation. Now this film takes elements from each of the novels and morphs it into one movie, so I'm not sure if whether more films are going to come out regarding this series. However, as I watched the trailer, it is very clear that we are being telegraphed big time that the end is coming, that time is running out, and even as you look at this movie poster, you can see right in there the as above, so below. You can see the buildings of New York City being turned upside down, and this particular white tower in the middle, which in my mind signifies the kingdom of the false Messiah, the end of the age, the final kingdom, the kingdom of, again, the anti-Messiah or the false savior that is coming very, very soon. And I believe time is running out. I believe we are blatantly being shown what is coming and what is about to spill over onto the earth. And let's just look at some screenshots from the trailer as well as other information from the internet so I can hopefully prove to you what I am talking about. But really, I think this series is all about time that is running out for humanity. And according to IMDb, it says that the gunslinger Roland Deschain roams an old west-like landscape where the world has moved on in pursuit of the man in black, also searching for the fabled Dark Tower in the hopes that reaching it will preserve his dying world. Now, it can seem like, again, a nice story, but I believe there's much more to be said as to what is going on here. They really want you to believe that this is just a story, but again, there is always more than meets the eye with this propaganda that we are shown, and it is predicting really what the Bible has been saying for millennia. So the trailer opens up with what looks to be a barren land kind of place with much destruction. Looks like a former temple or a former fortress, whatever you want to call it. But bear in mind that this is not likely our world or earth. I believe it is another place. According to other articles or write-ups about this movie, this place is called Midworld. So it could be the place between our world and other worlds, which I believe it is. The midpoint, or possibly we will get into that in a little later on. But I believe this to be a scene of an alternate world where the good guy is from, which we'll see later. But get ready for much predictive programming for alternate realities, different dimensions, and otherworldly beings. The same sort of thing that we are constantly being shown in so much of these movies. So enter Roland the Gunslinger, played by Idris Elba. He's supposedly the good guy of the film, and I put that in quotes very loosely. So the Gunslinger says, for thousands of generations, the Gunslingers were knights sworn to protect us from the coming of the dark. So, excuse me, did he say knights? Does that remind you of something here? You can possibly see already what is being promoted here, and I think it's just, again, all about the Knights Templar. They love to show themselves as the supposed good guys, the protectors of humanity, but those who are awake and know what the Knights Templar are all about, they are basically the military wing of the Roman Catholic Church, of the Vatican. They are not into protecting humanity at all. They are forwarding the kingdom of the devil. That is exactly what they are doing. And also, interestingly enough, Wikipedia, when it talks about this series, The Dark Tower, it actually says that Roland Deschain is the last living member of a knightly order known as Gunslingers and the last line of Arthur Eld. Okay, so again, it's his world's analog of King Arthur. So many of us know that King Arthur was definitely one of the Crusaders, definitely part of the Knights or the Templar, whatever you want to call it. So I really believe that this is just yet in our faces, blatant clues for the Knights Templar and the Illuminati, the Jesuit Freemasons, whatever you want to call them. They love to act like they are protecting the world, but really it is, again, duality, the good versus the bad, but it is all part of the same coin. So now we enter the man in black, who's played by Matthew McConaughey. So go figure that he's in the shadows here, but this is the supposed bad guy of the film who's got a sinister plan, which of course is to bring death and hell on the earth. So what, of course, would a movie be these days if it wasn't some sort of apocalypse to end the world kind of thing? This is what we are constantly being shown in these movies. And here's another, a better shot of the man in black, quite freaky, as he looks there. But it's a fitting look for someone who plans to bring death and destruction to the world, wouldn't you say? And I honestly believe that the gunslinger and the man in black really are just two sides of the same coin. They both come from pretty much the same place. So, nothing really surprising there. But as we go to the next scene, what the heck is that? You might be asking right about now. This is possibly our first look at the bringers of the dark into our world. Notice the two horns on this thing, this demonic creature. Does that remind you of something? How much do we get shown the pit of Revelation 9 about to open and Apollyon coming soon? We constantly get shown the same kind of thing. Apollyon, Abaddon, Baphomet, Shiva, Tammuz, you know, whatever you want to call him, the god of the underworld, Osiris. All of these same characters are all part of the same thing. He is coming, the two-horned god, the false prophet, and the destroyer out of the pit. He is coming very, very soon. And this is something that we are telegraphed on a regular basis. So no surprise here when I saw this two-horned creature, because we see that all the time. As we keep going, we meet Jake, another main character, the person who is actually in modern day New York, having dreams and visions about apocalyptic stuff. Now, he wakes up here in this scene to his entire room shaking, so he's possibly seeing what's going to come in the future or what's about to happen. The shaking is due to beams of light that come from a mysterious tower, or the Dark Tower, that Jake keeps dreaming about. So funny in my mind how yet again this is taking place in good old New York City. So go figure, is something about to go down there again? And we see a beautiful shot of New York City. It's almost like it's the last time you're going to see it like this. At least that's what came across my mind as they're flashing this scene. It's just unbelievable the amount of movies that depict New York City as the epicenter of destruction, and we'll talk about that in a bit later on. So as we keep going, we see Jake, he's talking to a psychiatrist, and he says that he constantly has dreams and visions of a tower, the man in black, and the gunslinger. So, you know, as he's talking about these dreams and visions, it really made me think of the prophecy in Joel 2 that talks about in the last days how men will dream dreams and have visions. So could this be a perversion of the Joel 2 prophecy, you know, replacing Yahweh's people with Lucifer's people? Here's the prophecy itself, right from Joel 2, verse 28 to 29. It shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days I will pour out my spirit. So that is a prophecy of the last days. Of course, part of that was fulfilled when the Spirit was poured on Pentecost after Yeshua had ascended back to the Father, and he had sent his Spirit. But this prophecy is meant for the people of Yahweh, the true people of Yahweh. But of course, the devil has his people as well. He is giving his people dreams and visions. And, you know, I believe that we are being shown blatantly what is coming very soon. But sadly, you know, the vast majority of Christians who claim to know the truth are actually asleep, and they can't see what is coming. It's very the few, the remnant, that can truly see what is happening. The remnant is having dreams and visions that I believe are coming from Yahweh. He is showing his people what is about to take place. Sadly, many people in the church don't want to hear these things because they're caught up with entertainment and money teaching, whereas Lucifer's people, sadly, the elites, the people who run Hollywood, they know what is coming, but they believe that Lucifer is going to win. They think their God is going to win, but that's just not going to be so. And even as I look at these pictures, I find some quite interesting connections here. This one here, you see, you know, notice this picture with people coming out of what looks like a temple, you know, and a beam of light at the top. You know, does that remind you of something? You know, as I saw that, just the shape of those stones, it really reminds me of the Georgia Guidestones. It looks very similar in fashion. Then you got the beam of light, possibly the sun rays, or Antichrist kingdom, or sorry, false Messiah kingdom that is being beamed over. The false light of Lucifer, whatever you want to call it. Could be something, you know, again, about the Georgia Guidestones, the whole depopulation agenda that, of course, the elites love to put in there. With the tower, you've got this, you know, major red, black, and white New World Order color symbolism here. And I think here, Jake is possibly seeing the fallen angel battle that's about to erupt on the earth very soon. Something similar to what we saw in the Thor Ragnarok trailer, with showing the war of the gods, the destruction, the casting out, all that kind of thing is about to spill out over the earth. But sadly, many Christians, they don't want to get what is truly coming. They're just too asleep. They're too caught up with this world. And as we keep going, we get a good shot of the gunslinger walking across a desert or a barren land. This is something that is depicted by CERN as the other side. Tons of movies and TV shows, music videos, and commercials depict this very same scene with mythical creatures residing on the other side. And let me just show you some shots of that. We've got, you know, the movie, actually, the film that CERN made called Symmetry, and of course they show the other side as this barren land, people in a circle, of course, I'm sure symbolizing the womb, symbolizing the portal, or with the other dimension it's going to open up. We see them doing their devil dances, and of course the duality, the as above so below, the black is white, all this kind of thing. Constantly we are shown this by CERN, and in many different ways. There was even a recent commercial for perfume that featured Blake Lively. It was a Gucci commercial, and of course you see here again walking across the barren land. I believe they are cryptically showing us the demonic realm, the realm of the Nephilim spirits, I believe. And how many of you remember the Mitsubishi Outlander commercial, which even Round Saturn's Eye talked about, and I mentioned it at the end of one of my videos recently. Again, you see the mythical creatures. You've got the Medusa, you've got even Baphomet or Nimrod here with the half man, half beast. You've got the Pegasus, you've got again another Minotaur here, a mermaid, all this kind of stuff again depicted in the barren land, the land of the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. Same kind of thing we're being shown. There was even a movie recently in 2016 called The Void. I'm not sure if any of you saw this. It was actually quite cheesy, but very evil at the same time. And at the end, they showed again the barren land, the alternate reality of the creatures that were wreaking havoc on the earth. And of course, what did they show in the barren land? This major pyramid symbolism, the fallen angel religion, the religion of Lucifer, the elites. This is what they are into, and they worship Lucifer, the devil. How many remember Stargate, a movie back in the 90s featuring James Spader and Kurt Russell? They go through a portal, of course, and they come out on the other side, and what do they see? Again, pyramidal symbol. Of course, all the planetary nonsense, and they try to make it seem like they've gone to a different planet, but really where they have gone is to the barren land. There is nothing new under the sun. This is the same thing that we are shown over and over and over again. The place of the Nephilim, the place where their disembodied spirits reside. And what's interesting is that even Yeshua has made mention of this. The barren land is possibly the place what Yeshua spoke of as arid places where demons roam before taking up residence in someone. All right, so I believe that very soon the demons of this barren land, or the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, are going to spill out over here. So this good guy, supposed good guy, the gunslinger, is also from this place, which I believe also the man in black is also from this place. So again, in my mind, depicting two sides of the same coin. So as we keep going, we see Jake looks to have made many drawings of his dreams and visions, so he's obviously had a lot of them. Is this to drive home the point to us that many dreams means that this stuff is definitely coming soon, that he's having multiple visions and dreams because it is going to happen? And again, I cannot emphasize this more, that so many Christians just do not understand or have any idea of what is coming. They're not open to what the Ruach, or the Spirit of Yahweh, is showing in these last days. You know, for the most part, their dreams consist of money, fame, big ministries or churches, numbers, entertainment, performances, and the praise of men, and so on and so forth. This is what the majority of Christians dream of. People in ministry only dream of having a bigger ministry, only dream of having money and numbers and all that kind of nonsense. They have no clue as to what is going on, and I pray that they wake up very soon, because this stuff is about to happen. You know, one of Jake's dreams or drawings he has is of an old dilapidated house, and he walks into that house to find something quite interesting. All the while we hear Jake's voice saying, "There's another world out there. I know there is." So funny how only just a little while ago we spoke of the barren land, alternate worlds, creatures, CERN. So do you know that even the director of research at CERN has been quoted as saying something about this? You probably already know about this, but good old Sergio Bertolucci, I believe his name is, here we go. He says that something may come through dimensional doors at the LHC, and out of this door might come something, or we might send something through it. And again, this is Sergio Bertolucci, the director for research at CERN and scientific computing. So how much have we been shown the same thing? Okay, portals. How many remember the movie Terminator and all those series, whether it's Genesis or all of them, going through time, going through portals? We just spoke about Stargate, again going through portals. This is something that we are being shown on a regular basis. In fact, there was a TV show not that long ago. There's going to be season 2 of this Stranger Things series. It was quite fascinating, going into the upside down, as they called it, and there was the Demogorgon and crazy creatures were on the other side. Of course, this person, who I'm not sure if whether it has been altered in some way, L or 11 that they called her, she was able to go between both worlds. And so now season 2 is coming out very soon, which I think is going to depict the other side, or the upside down coming into our reality. So this is something that we are being telegraphed on a regular basis, that something big is about to happen. And of course, as Jake walks through the light, presto, he's suddenly in the barren land. So again, how many times have we seen movies that depict a portal to another dimension or a world? Just as we showed, so many movies and TV shows depict this very same thing. Not only are we shown Jake in the barren land and the other world, but we get more planet programming. Okay, the same thing we saw in that Stargate movie. In the background behind the pyramid, there was the same, kind of planetary nonsense going on. So they need to keep this planet programming going on in order for us to keep believing in the myth of aliens from other galaxies. Because if you know the truth of our world, there are no galaxies, there are no planets. The things we see up in the sky are stars, which is exactly what the Bible talks about. So really, there are no such thing as planets and galaxies and all this nonsense that CERN wants us to believe. So as Jake gets to the other side, or the other realm or dimension, he meets the gunslinger, one of the beings from his dreams and visions. So say, didn't the director of CERN describe this very thing? So RD Man, or Sergio Bertolucci from CERN, said that out of this door might come out something, or we might send something through it. So, is Jake actually an example of what gets sent? So he walks through the portal, he gets sent, and the gunslinger plus other beings are examples of what comes out. Is that what we're possibly being shown? That something is going to go in and something is going to come out very, very soon. And, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're trying to show us, that something big is about to come out. I also find it quite interesting that Idris Elba was also played a character in the Thor movies. He plays Humdial. He is the gatekeeper, I guess you could say, that Thor and people travel through different dimensions and goes through that rainbow bridge to get to different world. So kind of an interesting connection there that good old Hollywood has there for us, that he just happens to play the gatekeeper. And of course, again, he's playing this other character here called the gunslinger, yet again a character from a different world. So go figure. I just find it quite fascinating that this same kind of thing is constantly being shown. Of course, that world that he's from in Asgard is not the barren land. I believe they are showing Lucifer's actual kingdom, Asgard, which is above this earth, the second heaven, the place that the word talks about, where I believe Lucifer resides. He is referred to as the prince of the power of the air. So his kingdom is in the second heaven, the waters above, right below the domain of Yahweh and Yeshua. And so the devil's kingdom is right below the second heaven, and we are below that, under the firmament. Okay, so this is what I believe is happening here. And so, this connection is quite interesting, that Idris Elba just happens to play again a character from a different realm. And now we're going to start getting into this infamous Dark Tower. We see that Jake sees in his dreams and visions the tower on fire, a destruction, a cataclysm. Is this tower imagery, has something that has been shown to us many times. So is this starting to remind you of something? And I'm going to get into that in a little bit more. Again, we see another scene of the tower breaking apart and exploding, and Jake says, why does the man in black want to destroy the tower? And the gunslinger says, the tower protects both our worlds. If it falls, hell will be unleashed. So, Gunslinger pretty much gets right to the point. I believe the most significant part of this movie is this tower. So we'll talk about that in a bit. I'm going to break that down as to what I believe this tower actually represents, and we'll look at more of this imagery in just a little while here. So just hold on there. But again, we see a beautiful shot of New York City. It's shown to us as the gunslinger says, hell will be unleashed. And actually, there's something I just forgot to talk about, and that is, actually, you know what? I'm sorry, I made a mistake. My mistake. Anyways, so getting back to New York City, we see this this shot as gunslinger says, hell will be unleashed. I don't think I can even count how many movies and TV shows have depicted this very thing. We are constantly being shown New York City being the epicenter of something big that's about to happen. Even Obama has been quoted as saying one of his #1 concerns was a nuke going off in Manhattan. So why would Obama say something like that just out of the blue? It just doesn't make sense. Coupled with the fact that Hollywood is constantly putting these messages out there of cities getting destroyed, but the #1 city that is being shown as destroyed is this New York City. We are constantly shown this on a regular basis, and I'm starting to question as to why. And so before we get to that, I really want to show you something that I believe possibly this dark tower is representing. I'm sorry, I did actually get ahead of myself. There was something I was going to say here about this tower. I'll give you just a little bit of what I think the tower represents. I think the tower has a little bit to do with the Tower of Babel. Many of us know the story from Genesis of Nimrod, of course, where all the Freemasonic false religions, Mystery Babylon comes from, centered around this guy building the Tower of Babel to reach into the heavens. Many people realize when they look into this, you know, via the book of Enoch or other scriptures, like, or other, I would say biblically endorsed books like Jasher and Jubilees, they talk about what Nimrod was doing, that he was a king trying to go into heaven and defeat Abba Yahweh, which was just not going to happen. So God had to take this tower down because he was not going to have anything that defies him. And I find it interesting that we constantly see this tower symbolism even in something like the Walt Disney logo. I believe that this is clearly showing us, or cryptically, that there is a firmament above us, but the Tower of Disney pierces through the firmament. The same thing that Nimrod, I believe, and in his cohort, fallen angels, demonic presence, Lucifer, was trying to do the same thing, trying to pierce the veil or pierce the firmament. Something possibly, you know, the ancient version of CERN possibly is what the Tower of Babel is, in a complete rebellion against God. Again, I believe this is what the Walt Disney logo again is showing, piercing the firmament or the veil. And you know, this is another reason why I just cannot believe in the solar system model, the heliocentric model that we have been shown for so long since birth. How would Nimrod ever build a tower that reaches into the domain of Yahweh on a ball earth, spinning through aimless space? It doesn't make any sense. Where is it going to go? There's nowhere to go. How high could he build this tower? But if we are under a firmament dome, then it makes much more sense as to how we could build that tower and reach into the heavens. That makes much more sense to me. So I would encourage you to please research the true cosmology of our world. So, you know, getting back to what we were talking about, how many times have we seen this scene or this imagery of New York City getting destroyed? Well, I'll show you. Of course, I can't go through every single movie because we would be here forever, but how many of you remember Superman 2 way back in the 70s and 80s? I believe this movie was made, or at least this series with Christopher Reeve. We see the epic battle between Superman and Zod, you know, in New York City, but of course we see it getting trashed like crazy. So right, again, New York City being the epicenter of destruction. How many remember Ghostbusters, the new one as well as the original one, again depicting New York City as the epicenter of destruction? More recently, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, yet again New York City being the epicenter of destruction. And again, I could go on and on and on as to how many movies depict New York City as being this epicenter. So something huge is coming. We are definitely being shown very much in our faces, I believe. In another scene, we see quite obvious what's going on here as hell is being unleashed. It's quite funny. After they show New York City, we see hell being unleashed. So quite possibly something big is about to happen. We get another glimpse of our furry little friend here from the pit. So again, very obvious as to what we're being shown here, that chaos is coming. The pit of Revelation 9 is about to open. Apollyon, the destroyer, Shiva, Abaddon, whatever, he is coming very, very soon. And I found this scene quite fascinating. We hear Jake saying, "He's like the devil, isn't he?" And the gunslinger says, "No, he's worse." And then the man in black says, which is right here, Matthew McConaughey, "You can't stop what's coming. Death always wins." So we are literally being told that nothing is going to stop what is coming, possibly coming very soon. I found what quite interesting is that, you know, this is all said as the man in black steps through a doorway, possibly symbolizing the same doorway that CERN is trying to open. But also notice what he is standing on. It just happens to be the cross. They love to throw this cross symbol because this is the symbol of their god, Lucifer, the sun god. This is yet again the pagan sun cross being shown to us in our faces, because this is what is coming. That is a symbol of the false Messiah. Later on, we see a chunk what looks like part of a cathedral that ends up in Midworld in this arid place. So parts of our world are possibly getting sucked into the other side. So if this is truly meant to be a cathedral, then to me, there's your good old Roman Catholic Vatican connection right there. You know, remember what's outside the courtyard in St. Peter's Basilica, which looks like a keyhole. Not only that, but the courtyard itself has an 8-pointed star of Ishtar on it, so which is the same as CERN. These things are not by accident. Let's just look at St. Peter's Basilica again. The courtyard looks exactly like a keyhole. Okay, right there you've got the star of Ishtar right in the middle, which of course the pagan Nimrod phallic obelisk right there, but the star of Ishtar right there. We know that the 8-pointed star, number 8, means or symbolizes new beginning in the occult. Okay, so their new beginning is coming, where they want to tear apart the old world and bring in the new. So again, the Vatican keyhole symbolism right there in our faces. So this 8-pointed star is nothing new. CERN has the same symbolism, the 8-pointed star of Ishtar, opening the portal, breaking time and space, all the same kind of thing. There is just nothing new under the sun, and this is not by accident. We are constantly being shown these same things. So we know, and at least in my mind, that the Roman Catholic Church is definitely working for the working for the devil. They are his agency. Their main agency of the devil is the Roman Catholic Church. That is the false counterfeit. That's a double negative. The counterfeit community of Messiah. Okay, this is what they propagate all the time. They are definitely in cohorts with Lucifer himself. And as we keep going, we see Jake says, "Your world might be gone, but mine isn't." So what is he? He's inviting other beings from the other side into our world. You know, and just as Yeshua said, the demons come from an arid/desert place until they find a person to possess. I also find the scene quite interesting. You know, a reference to one of Stephen King's other novels called It. This actually says Pennywise right here, and so you'll remember him from the movie It and the novel series. So where did Pennywise always come from? He always came from the other side. We see him even in the old movie back in the 80s that he was in the sewers. He came from a different place. He was not a physical being, well, you know, basically physical/spiritual being, but he was really a demon on the inside that ate children and did all kinds of horrible things to children. So he was really just a destroyer. So something even similar to Shiva, to CERN, to Baphomet, you know, this destroyer that comes and wreaks havoc in people's lives. So quite fascinating that they have to mention Pennywise, which again is a creature from the other side. So now let's get into this tower. You know, Jake says to Gunslinger, if you let that tower fall, millions of people will die. So there again, you've got your depopulation. Kind of funny that we mentioned the Georgia Guidestone. So many people, millions of people are going to die. So, you know, what's so special about this tower? I believe, in my opinion, and again, nobody has to agree with me, but I believe that this tower is representing time. Even when you count the number of light rays coming out of it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we know that 12 is the same amount of digits on a clock. This is possible Chronos worship, as Satan knows that his time is short. But not only is Satan's time short, I believe that this is showing time is running out for humanity as well, because the veil is about to break. This is what CERN is all about, and all of this occult in general, and the kingdom of the false messiah that is coming. They are going to break the veil between our world and the abyss in order to release the beast. And I believe this tower, the significance of the Dark Tower is the breaking of time, the breaking, or the fact that time is about to run out very, very soon. I think this is what we are being shown constantly. And, you know, just to get more into that, how many remember the towers from good old Lord of the Rings? I really want to break down this tower symbolism that we are shown quite often. We remember that the tower in Mordor was the Tower of Sauron, the Dark Lord, and of course the all-seeing eye right above it. But what I find quite interesting is that the second book was called The Two Towers, and you'll remember that the first tower was the Tower of Sauron, that wizard that basically aligned himself with the Dark Lord Sauron, and then you've got the other Tower of Sauron. And of course, when they fell, when the supposed good guys had the victory at the end, these two towers fell. And what became prominent was the Tower of Gondor, the White Tower. I find it quite fascinating that the White Tower in Gondor just so happens to have a building that's very similar looking to a basically Roman Catholic cathedral. You've also got the good old sun cross, sun god symbolism right there in our faces. And this just happened to be the same place where good old Aragorn, who was the hero, was crowned as the king, a Return of the King. You've got the same false Messiah look, the long hair, the full beard and mustache, that same false Messiah look. You've also got literally the keyhole, this courtyard that's at the top of the White Tower is literally shaped like a keyhole. Okay, you can see it right here. There's the courtyard. You got the keyhole right there in our faces, just exactly like the Vatican, St. Peter's Basilica. And of course, he is crowned literally right in the sun cross. Okay, right in the center of the pagan sun god cross. So this is no coincidence. Okay, this is something that we are being shown, that the two towers fell, and the one lone white tower now is the prominent one, and that is where the false Messiah was crowned as king. Another thing I find quite fascinating is that he is marrying an elf creature, so a Nephilim fallen angel creature, and right in the background you've got the good old Star of Ishtar right there. Okay, the 8-pointed star, Saturn symbolism, same thing that's at the Roman Catholic Church, St. Peter's Basilica, ushering in the new world. So I believe Aragorn is basically a metaphor for the false Messiah that is coming. So again, the two towers fell, the one tower became the prominent one, and that ushered in the kingdom of the false Messiah. I believe the same thing we are being shown with the Twin Towers. It was built many years ago, of course, by the Rockefellers who owned that land. They built it as a number 11 for destruction. Of course, sadly 9/11 took place, which brought down the two towers. And what took its place? The White Tower, or the One World Tower. The two were destroyed, and the one came up. And of course, this is very Masonic looking. You've got it literally built on what looks like a cube. You've got the Masonic symbolism all over this thing, this one world tower, which of course one world, they want to unify the world under one kingdom. So I believe we are very much being shown the two towers being brought down in order to make way for the one. This is a big concept in the teachings of Freemasonry. You've got the three towers. One is wisdom, one is beauty, and the third one is strength, which of course just happens to be under the eye of Lucifer. And you know, I find it quite fascinating that this third tower, if you look at more of their imagery, the third tower is always in the background, and which apparently looks like it leads to the gate of the gods, or Babel, which is what Babel means, the gate of the gods. Okay, so are they trying to show us that the third tower literally represents the opening of the gate of the gods, that Lucifer, the fallen angels, are coming? This is what I believe Revelation 12 and the battle in the heavens, where Lucifer, the dragon, and the fallen angels are cast out of heaven. But of course, Freemasons worship these guys. They want them to come to the earth so that they can be worshipped. So I believe that the One World Tower possibly represents that very thing that the elites of this world have been preparing us for. They symbolically showed us tearing down the two towers to make way for the one. So possibly the One World Trade Center, I believe, in my mind at least, or in my opinion, could possibly represent the coming kingdom of Antichrist, of anti-Messiah, the false Messiah that is coming very, very soon. And just to drive that point home, I find it quite fascinating. We get another shot of New York City, but this time it is of Times Square. This is the same place where the ball drops, you know, and at what time does the ball drop on New Year's Eve? It is at midnight. Okay, so possibly, at least in my mind again, is humanity nearing the midnight mark where the ball is going to drop from the tower? You know, I strongly believe that the Dark Tower is a metaphor to symbolize that time is running out very